It's raining out. So you know what happens when it's raining? I can do a video early because it's nice and cool in here. Nice and cool in the shop. Yep. So I got this from Sal, and I took off a flake already, and there was a couple of flakes removed before I got it, but I want to see what this looks like on the inside. So I'm going to take some more flakes, and then I'm going to try to flatten out the big pieces, or I should say I'm going to take some spalls, small spalls. They're going to look like flakes, and I'll knap the biggest one, or maybe the one that looks the best. Some of this probably has inclusions, so I may not be able to knap the biggest one without too much risk, right? If there's too much risk on the biggest one, I won't knap it. Yeah. Alright, so it looks like interesting stuff. I'll probably end up heat treating most of it. Yeah. Yeah, the bottom part looks like it's a little bit concretey. The bottom part of that flake, that's why it snapped there. I mean, sometimes even high quality stuff snaps at the end, but I think we can see the difference in quality of the Chert. It's pretty bad at the end, so I'm not worried about losing that part. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. It will improve with heat, though. From my experience, that stuff improves a little bit, and I can get a hunting point or something out of it. Nothing fancy. But as you can see, if I don't go for the biface, I can get, you know, good spalls if I don't try to maximize it for the biface. And there's a certain name for this kind of core. Unidirectional core or something like that. Where you knock off flakes in one direction. Obviously. Kind of self-explanatory. Do I want to knock off more of those flakes, or do I want to try to biface this piece? Well, this half is not that good, but this half is good, so I should probably just go for a big flake there. Yeah, that's okay. It's not big, but at least it's usable. Okay, so this is usable also, maybe. It's got some defects, but I'll throw that. I throw all these except for clunky ones, or what I call crud flakes. I won't use those. Excuse me, I got a new flake bucket. It's very loud. I'm gonna knap this one. Yeah. Okay, so these all go in the heat treat box to be heat treated later. To be continued. And I'll see what I can do with this. It won't be anything fancy. No. Why won't it be fancy? How do I know ahead of time? Because I don't really feel like messing with it too much. It looks pretty hard. It's nice under the cortex though. Let's see. Yeah, if I just eliminate most of this crud and try to save as much of it as possible that's under the cortex, I think we're in business. Alright, so I'm going to start peeling off the cortex. I do like it when it rains here because I can get more done in the shop. I was going to set up outside yesterday, but it rained on and off yesterday, so I've got to make sure that there's no chance of rain if I set up outside. I don't want to get my equipment all wet. Yeah. Alright, so it's not too bad. Yeah. I just got to try to eliminate as much of this as possible and keep as much of that as possible. Yeah, most of the time when these gloves wear out, it's because of the abrader. And I hope my friend Don sends me another one of these pieces before the year is out, because I'm going to be wearing this down a lot between now and the end of summer, the next 3 months. Yeah, this stuff definitely does better with heat. It's not impossible to make something out of it, of course, but you know, when it's raw like this, but it's so much easier when it's heat treated. The only thing I worry about is sometimes the darker stuff breaks up and it becomes useless. Yeah, so you never know. Yeah, often the prettiest stuff is the stuff that's most difficult to predict or to work with or to do anything with. So right now I'm preparing to remove this turtleback, so I'm moving the edge that way from this side because this side is cruddy, so I can remove a lot from this edge I am going to remove a lot from this edge by moving the edge, and if I'm going to do that, I do that from the cruddy side and try to keep the good stuff. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna hit it pretty hard here. Sometimes I use steel for this on really hard stone, but I'm gonna use the copper. Why the steel? Steel tends to be less damaged as far as a tool tip goes when I do the turtleback removals. That's actually a nice little flake. Let's put that in the heat treat, potential heat treat to be continued, even though it's a really small flake. One more. And they didn't do it. There it goes. That went clear across. See that? And it took a little bit. Did it take a little bit off the edge? Maybe not. That was a good flake. Yeah. Now there's a turtle back there. So I remove more of this cruddy side. I did lose a lot of the good material from here, but it was way too turtleback-ish. It has to be flattened out, so it's okay. Hopefully, when I remove this stuff, this nasty stuff here, I'll be left with only good stuff. That's the hope. You see how I change the angle if it doesn't work? That's why it's hard to tell people when they ask, what's the angle? What's the angle you use, and what's the angle of this from the floor? You know, if the floor is like this, but your stick is up like that, what's that angle? And when you hit, what's this angle compared to that? It varies. It varies. I-T-V-A-R-I-E-S. It varies. How much is it varies? How much is it varies? Exactly. It varies a lot. That's all I'm going to tell you, okay? Now you know. You just have to watch a lot of my videos, and you can eventually understand how much it varies. It varies very much. How much? Very much. It varies very much? Yeah, it varies very much. Now, when you get to thinning down the thin piece, it doesn't vary that much. But in the beginning, yeah. So overall, in general, it varies very much. But as you get more and more refined, and as it gets thinner and thinner, the variables are very tight. It doesn't vary very much. Okay? So the next question is, all right, Smarty Pants, let's do the different voice. Okay, since it doesn't vary very much at the end, I want to know what it is at the end. How do I answer that question? The answer to that is I have no answer to that. Yeah. That's the answer. I can't answer that. Why? Because I don't know. I don't know the exact angles at the very end in the refinement stage. The subconscious takes care of that in most cases. I mean, I don't have a measuring device. I don't have something that goes, all right, this is the point where I put it at a certain angle and get my measuring device out and make sure I'm at the right angle, and then I strike. I don't have that. Have you ever seen me use like an angle device to know the correct angle when I'm going to hit for every strike? How do I know what the angle is then if I don't have a measuring device? It's like using a table saw to cut a 45-degree angle by just winging it and just kind of adjust the angle of the blade without any gauge. Okay? But that's the way flint knapping is like. That's what it's like. To just eyeball everything. Let's say you wanted to create a little doghouse and you have no way of using a tape measure or an adjustment scale on your table saw to know the angles of various things, or you don't have any way to level it, nothing. You just build a doghouse with nothing but eyeball. Okay? That's what flint knapping is like. So if a guy is eyeballing the doghouse build and someone asks me, okay, what's that angle and what's this angle and where's the square and what's your reference point for all this? He doesn't know. How does it come out good? It's because of practice. After doing so many doghouses, it's not that big a deal. And the more you do, the less measuring you need. That's what flint knapping is like. Okay? But, you know, most people can figure that out. They don't see me measuring the angles of anything. It's all eyeball. It's all winging it. Even the guys that are experts, so-called, they're very, very good at doing this. None of them use any measuring devices or angle determining devices. No. Now, in the future, is someone going to start knapping that way? Is one of these smarty pants in the community going to start building measuring tools for how to know the angles and what forces to apply? He might be able to generate an angle gauge and a pressure force gauge in his pressure tools so that he can tell us exactly what the pressure is. He knows the properties of the stone because he got a device. You can just put the stone in the device and see how high the tensile strength is, what the flexibility is, what type of stone it is, how far the flakes can run, blah, blah, blah. You never know. Somebody might engineer the whole thing. But for now, you're asking for engineering measurements when there can't be any. Okay? All right. End of rant. Maybe there'll be another rant in a minute. Yeah. Do I get tired of people asking me, where's the angle? I need to know. If I don't know, I'm going to die because it's killing me. I recommend you start building dog houses then and just give up flint knapping. Yeah. Or better yet, build beehives or something. I hear that beekeeping is becoming very popular. Yeah. Go into beekeeping and get out of flint knapping. Yeah. There's a lot of data on exactly how to build beehives, how to purify the honey, how to purify the beeswax. It's all very technical and exact. Yeah. They got it down to a science now, so to speak. There's no guesswork. They got tests for bacteria. They even got medicine for bees. I mean, I was watching some bee videos this morning. You can even get bees in the mail of all types, and the queen bees too. Replace the queens. You can sneak in and replace the queen with one that you get online. Yeah. You can be all sneaky about it. Get some engineered bees. Alright? So if you're going to be all persnickety about the details, you need to get into something other than flint knapping. Yeah. You might ask, well, why doesn't someone get more scientifical? Yeah. Don't worry, it'll happen one of these days. Some billionaire will take an interest in lithic studies and develop some measuring equipment. but it's going to require several years and several attempts and several people working on it full time to come up with devices to measure all this stuff. And then what's the payoff? The payoff is the guy that says, I know everything, but I still can't do it. That's the payoff. So, in other words, the payoff's not that good. So there you go. I just predicted the future for you, so you don't have to do it. So what is this now? This is getting to the point where I'm going to start having trouble. What's the width to thickness ratio? And I know this subconsciously because I'm getting uncomfortable. Right? So it's let's see, 30 millimeter by 7, 4:1. It's 4:1 right now, a little bit better, but 4:1, and I can tell right now it's going to start getting difficult. To this point, it wasn't too bad. Just a matter of trying to figure out how to conserve the best part of the stone without too much trouble. Getting rid of the turtlebacks, and now we're here. 4:1. Okay, so let's see. I'm not going to thin it out too much. I don't think. Well, let's see. Should I? This material isn't all that great. So it's best that I leave it a little bit thick. Yeah, I'm going to have to skin off a lot of this good stuff because it's still lumpy on this side. I'm going to try to get it down to like 6:1 because that's my normal width to thickness ratio. Yeah. But I don't want to skin too much of this off because it looks nice. Yeah. Alright. And there's a lot of rock embedded in this, and cortex especially embedded in there. You see the in between? Those lighter areas? That's cortex and chert stuck in there. And if I do this with a file, it'll dull the file. Those files only cost maybe $8, so it's not a big deal, but using the Abrader like this saves my file. Yeah. Just so I don't have to run down there and get another one. Not that I don't like going into the hardware store, because that's my favorite thing to do. Almost. What's my favoriteest thing to do? If it's not going to the hardware store and buying stuff, my favoriteest apparently is watching YouTube videos. That's my favoriteest thing if I go by the number of hours a week I spend doing it. Yeah. I say apparently because, believe it or not, it's hard for me to know what my favorite stuff is or to analyze myself. I gotta think about it a lot. I wish I didn't like to do so many things. Unfortunately, there's more things that I don't like to do than the things that I do like to do. Yeah. Let's see. Corner notch point. Because I already messed up that corner. Might as well do a corner notch point. Yeah. And for those of you who just started watching the channel, once in a while I'll do a random voice. A random strange voice. Yeah. Without warning. Except for the general warning that I will sometimes do a random strange voice. Most of the time it's going to be like a troll voice. Have I had people trolling me before? Oh yeah. And not just on YouTube, because I'm an oldie as far as being on the internet. I've been on the internet since 1995, when it first started to rear its ugly head. Before the social medias. Yeah. And it wasn't by choice. I had to do it because I was in college at around that time. Everybody had to have a computer and all that stuff already. Anyways, yeah, I've been on forums and I've been trolled and stuff. Oh yeah, and I started my life on the internet as a troll as well. I said, well, if you can't beat them, let's join them. Yeah, I would troll the trolls. Yeah, if you want to get into arguments, you start trolling the trolls. And boy, do they love to argue. And boy, do they not change their minds. In fact, they'll say that they want proof before they change their minds. And when you give them proof, they go, that's not enough proof. Okay, how about some more? No, it has to be a preponderance of evidence. It's still not enough. Okay, how about some more? That source is not as credible as the other source. I need more proof from better sources. And they just keep moving what they call the goalpost. They keep moving the goalpost. And unfortunately, a lot of these trolls are in academia and they just troll online in their spare time. Yeah. And they act the same way as far as proof goes in their academic studies. No, not enough proof. It's contrary to what we're doing, so we're not going to accept it. No, you need to have more preponderance than our preponderance. Yep. We have preponderances upon preponderances of evidence. You're just a little measly meese. You don't have enough preponderance. Yeah. Anyways, how'd I get onto that? The troll voice? Yeah, I've been trolled, and I have trolled the trolls it's great fun until you realize that you're dealing with people that are not playing with a full deck. Yeah. With some people, it's not just recreational arguing. They actually have brains that believe weird things. Oh yes. And I'm not talking just about the crackpots who believe in, sending signals to Mars and then communicate with planets because they think the planet itself is alive and stuff like that. But there's some really strange ideas out there, and they think it's all logical. Yeah. Anyways, it takes too much effort to bother with that stuff anymore. It was fun while it lasted. Okay. All right, so what is this going to be? It's just going to be a corner notch. I'm going to try to get it as symmetrical as I can. And try to do as few flakes as possible. Oops. And make it thin enough at the stem to fit into one of my pour shafts. Okay, where's the box? I changed it to a bin. Let's see which four shafts work well with this size of point. Is this one good? Where am I? These are my two typicals. It already fits into that one. Oh, you couldn't see it. It already fits into this one. So I don't need to thin it anymore. But it does not fit into this one. Well, yeah, maybe it does. So I don't need to thin it. That's good enough. But it will get a little bit thinner because I'm going to be notching into that area. But it already fits. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So what is it now? What is the width to thickness ratio? It's 28. 28 millimeter. Golly. By 5. Just a little bit more and it would be 6:1. If it was 30 millimeter wide, it would be 6:1. And if it was like 5 instead of 6, is it 5 millimeter? It is 5, but if it was 4, it'd be closer to 6:1, but it's pretty close. Yeah. Okay. Time for doing these notches. And then I'll sharpen the blade. And which four shaft was I using? because sometimes I space out and drop the foreshaft and I won't be able to find it again. Okay, I'm using that one, so, or one of these two. So what I'm going to do is, I think this one, I don't have to make the notches too deep to use this foreshaft, but I do have to deepen the notches to use this foreshaft. And what I mean is, you know, you don't want a bunch of sinew flying between the bottom of the notch and the wood. You want the bottom of the notch to meet up with the wood itself. Okay? At least I do. It makes a stronger haft when the bottom of the notch is right there where the wood is, so that when you wrap it around, there's no play. Okay. Yeah. You don't want it playing around. We're not playing around, are we? Nope. This is serious. Okay. Excuse me while I take a little detour from the notching. I need to thin that base a little bit more, just so I can satisfy my desire for a little better symmetry. Yeah. Okay. And it'll make it easier to notch too. That's always a plus. Although I think I'll be able to notch it anyway, but this way I can probably get deeper notches. Yeah. Why is it sometimes I look and sometimes I don't look at where the notch flakes are going? It all depends on how far I want the flakes to go. If I don't want them to go too far, they're just short flakes, I don't need to look. But if I want a long flake, I need to look. That's just the way it goes. Yeah. Stop raining. That means the sun is going to probably start coming out, and it'll increase in temperature by about 20 degrees in 10 minutes. Yeah. Hopefully the sun won't come out, but you never know. I'll get this finished before the sun comes out. How's that? See, I want a long flake on that one. This next one. Okay, good. That was long enough. It wasn't really long, but that was long enough. Yeah. Do we have symmetrization? Have we achieved symmetrization? Let's see. Let's see if it's good enough for hafting. Well, it's still a little bit too wide The stem is still a little bit too wide for hafting on that one, but on this one, the bottom of the notches match the sides of the wood. And that's what I like. I like the bottom of the notches to match the sides of the shaft like that. That's almost perfect. Because when you wrap it there, when you wrap it and it's like that, there's not much play in it. So it stays firm, even without good glue. You know what I mean? And I got a little bit more room in here. It's okay to have a little bit of room because then you can adjust and center the point better if there's a little bit of room in there. So it's perfect. Yeah. Okay. How do I know it's perfect? Because I say so. Yeah. Because I'm winging it. Flintknapping is a skill of winging it. Yeah. If you missed my rant from earlier, go back and rewind it. I rant about flint-knappers not having scientific equipment to tell you all the angles and all the forces. Yeah. And if you want to know what the angles and the forces are and the properties of the materials, you're out of luck. Yeah. Go build some dog houses or beehives. That's my rant. Or chicken coops. All those, or rabbit hutches. Yeah. Those things were engineered down to the minutest detail. Even ancient skills like pottery and stuff like that are down to the very last detail. They got it scientifically engineered all the way down to the last detail. They haven't done knapping yet because it's my opinion that there's no benefit to it. People are going to still say, I can't do it. I don't know why. I know everything, but I still have turtlebacks, step fractures, and broken tips, and no barbs, and no notches. So there's no payback. No payoff, I mean. There is payback, but no payoff. Yeah. You can know all that stuff and still not be able to do it. Yeah. So all you need to know, does the stone actually knap? Is it good, quote unquote, good for knapping? Yes. And are your tools good for knapping? Yeah. Is your mind and body good for knapping? Yeah? Okay then. That's all you need to know. Is your internet connection good for watching YouTube videos? Especially mine? Is it good? Good connection? Yeah? Okay, that's it. That's all you need to know. Don't need to know anything fancy. Nope. I said I wasn't going to thin this down too much. I'm just going to do one more pass on the edge. So I need to dull it. And then I got to go back and make sure I hit all the abraded areas with a flake so it can be sharp. It's at this stage where I say, is it good enough? Yeah. It's got lumps in it. It's got some wonkiness. That's good enough. Almost good enough. I can ruin it if I'm not careful. Yeah, I'm going to have to adjust the symmetry here. Okay. I wanted to take out that wonkiness. And I ended up taking too much off, but I can make the tip pointy. Yeah, I can put a needle tip on it. Put a little bit twist in the tip. I'm getting deja vu with this one. With this point. It feels like I made one just like this some time ago. Yeah, I think I made one just like this. Way back when. All right. That's it. It's good enough. It's nice and sharp. It's fairly symmetrical. The notches don't need to be any deeper because if you're smart and you have a foreshaft that you make a bunch of all the same size and then you make the arrowheads to fit. Yeah. You can make these pretty quick and store them up. And then when you get rock, as you get rock, you can nap them down to fit the foreshafts. Yeah. In the times where you're not gathering rocks or napping, you can make more of these. Have a bunch stocked up. So you're always busy doing something related to this. Yeah, perfect. I like it. And even with a smaller foreshaft, it can still work. I would just need to deepen the notches maybe a little bit more. Maybe. If there's enough glue in there and it's good quality glue, then you can have it sticking out you know, you can have these notches not right up against the wood. You can have it like this because the glue will be in there between the wood and the stone. You'll have that bead of glue around it. Of course, you'll have glue inside the notch too. But that bead of glue around the edge is enough to fill that up, so when you wrap it, it's not going to move. Okay? All right. That's why a lot of the artifacts have this type of shaped stem. It's excellent shape for hafting. Yeah. Okay. It's excellent shape for hafting with the wrapping. If you're just using only glue, then you don't need this type of stem. You can just use a contracting stem, or maybe no stem at all, and just glue it on. Okay. How much did that take? 50 minutes? Yeah, normally an arrowhead like this would take me about 30 minutes. Yeah. But I would talk too much. Yeah. All right, there you go. That's it.